Right, folks, good evening again. We're still on the road to recovery here. I hope the voice holds out, everything else that goes with it. We're back on VP4 online. We're back for another match on the one-loss side in this year's VP4 10-ball World Championship. It's going to start in about a minute's time. In fact, the room should be going up now. There we go. And it's between Bedhead and VPMonster, race to 10. Both players are in. Once again, haven't a clue whose cue's what, but they're going to lag for break. Alternate breaks it is, and it's call shot. All combos and banks should be called. Good evening and welcome. Pretty good lag. Well, that was quick. Never even got a chance to see the ball stop. But anyway, VPMonster won it. I think we've got a wee bit of synchronisation problem here because VPMonster's queue isn't showing. And you'll have to excuse me because I'm probably going to cough from time to time. Well, good evening, Albie. Welcome. I was experimenting with the different cloth colours for a better contrast with my lines. I had the tan colour, I had the red colour, I had the slate grey colour up, and then I thought I'm going to get complaints, so I stuck with the blue. Right, well, how do I see this match going? Well, what I do see is that Bedhead is a favourite on paper. What should VPMonster be doing? Well, he should be taking every opportunity he can get from any mistakes by Bedhead. If he does that, he'll stay with him all the way, and then it can be a close match. If VPMonster gets too greedy and sticks his neck out for one shot too many when he should be playing at half decent safety, he might just fall into Bedhead's hands. So that's what I'm interested to see, whether he's going to be using the head, because VPMonster will get chances. It's whether or not he's going to take them. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Bedhead's going to do well here to hold for the 7. And he's managed to just drop it in. That's a nice little shot. I think he's a bit straight though. Yep, and he can't do anything with this unless he tries to pinch this pocket, or unless he just draws back and plays this 8-ball long. And the immediate problem I can see is if he gets to here, how's he going to avoid that 10-ball? Now, what angles he got? I think he can avoid the 10-ball. Well, actually, I actually had my first good night's sleep last night. The first in 3 days. I mean, because for the 3 days before that, as I said the other night, I was just sitting dozing on my computer chair in front of the PC. But I did have a good sleep last night. Well, Bedhead has a good start, a good tidy little run out. That sends a message to VPMonster. Got to be on his game. And Bedhead winning that one against the break. 3-ball goes in, and he's got no shot in the 1 unless he wants to take this long combo, which is fairly straightforward, to be honest with you. Doesn't need to hit it hard, because again he doesn't want the 1 to escape. Had VPMonster got in earlier, we would have had a look at the bracket just to tidy things up and see where we are. I think at the moment there's one more match that is on the schedule. In fact, we might as well have a quick look while they're messing about here. there's only one match that is scheduled. If I can find the damn thing, where is it? There it is. The one with Spectre, Dawn and Acero. And that is going to be Sunday afternoon, so that's fine for me. I can be here for that one. And this is the match that's on right now. Well, it's too early to predict. I'll give it I'll give it 4 racks, and if VPMonster's 4-0 down, then I'll make a prediction. So Bedhead looks as if he's just going to roll through this one. Well, he's now calling the combo. No, he's calling the crossbank, but he's actually playing a safety. This is a good shot in case it goes in, because if it doesn't, it'll go along behind that 10 ball. Well, he's run it into the 9. So he got that all wrong. But luckily, the 2 ball is acting as a blocker. And this is by no means easy at all. In fact, I think it's too risky. I'd be more inclined to nudge that one and try and... Well, that's a good shot. It's a brave shot, but I'd have bottled out in that one. Now, he's grabbed the bull by the horns. Can he now back that up? How does he get on the 4? He needs to hit that 8 before he gets blocked out. He's still okay, but he's going to be running away from the 5. In fact, I'll mute the mic, guys. You're going to hear a click when I do it, because all of a sudden I've started coughing. As soon as I start talking, I think I'll have a drink. Well, that's going to be no shot. But if it came out a little bit, he could... well, he can't. I don't think he can really get Bedhead behind that 7. It's too tight. And he's hit that too heavy. Well, once again, the cut is obviously on, but he's going to run into the 10. And that's going to probably ruin his chances of getting a decent shot in the 6, unless he gets a lucky kick here. And that's going to scratch. Well, here we go. Excuse me. He's going to have to play the 6-8 to open the pocket. I'm going to cough again. Oh dear. I've got a really desperation to cough. Well, now he's got to come back the way. Try and get off behind that 8. Oh, I wouldn't touch whiskey if you gave me it for nothing. I hate the smell of it, let alone drinking it. Well, it needs to go behind the 8 to make it more difficult, but this is an easy jump. And that 7 should be cuttable from there. Once again though, the cue ball, if he gets the connection, the cue ball is coming down. Can he get enough pace in this? Oh, well, it's going to go square across the table, so does he call the reverse bank? Well, the safety played, and it's a pretty good safety. Always difficult to get the right thin edge of this 8 ball. Now, where the hell am I going to get a lemon and 2 cloves of garlic at 9:15 at night when I'm sitting in front of my PC? Well, that almost worked, but it looks like, provided Bedhead can get out for the 9, and it looks like forward and around would do it. Well, again, it's the wrong side. There's no problem getting on the 10, obviously. Just full focus on the 9. Excuse me. So a couple of mistakes by VPMonster, which is why he's 2-0 down. Same old story. He's going to have to get himself up and running quickly. As this, you know, very quickly becomes a very short race to 10. And that's another bad one. He's now scratched. I know what's going to cure this cough. That'll cure it. Put some poisons in my lungs, that'll cure the cough. Well, if in doubt, get one out. Well, this is an untidy mess for Bedhead to deal with. And VPMonster is going to be buried here in a second. Well and truly. Now that 3 ball next to the 9 or behind the 9 as we look is still awkward where that is. So my advice would be don't start banging things about and opening that up. Make it, leave it there without touching it. And if, well, that'll do. It just means Bedhead has work to do. But Bedhead making it tough for VPMonster. Now, how does the 3 ball look from there? Well, once again, if he pots the 2, I mean, that 3 ball's way too tight to be having a go at it from there. So what you do is bury him again. You know, pot the 2. get the cue ball there and nail him to the 9 and give him another go. That's exactly what he's going to do. That is straight out of my Tactical Genius manual. Paragraph, what do you call it? Chapter 1, paragraph 1, that one. Right, cough time again. I think that's cleared it, as a matter of fact. It feels a lot better now, believe it or not. That tickle right down in my lungs has gone. That's what happens when I get a heavy cold. You get the usual, obviously, the streaming nose that I had for couple of days before the medication kicked in. But then after that, it can then go to my lungs, go to my chest, and then it builds up. I've got 2 or 3 weeks of phlegm to clear out. That's coming next. That's building up. I don't want to get into any further detail. Well, this is going to be another good shot to pot the 4 and find a gap to squeeze that cue ball down to the left and out for the 5. And the problem already for VPMonster is he's not at any stage been in control of the table, and that's another reason why he's 2-0 down, apart from the errors that he's made. And he's had no say in what's happening in this rack so far, mainly because Bedhead's froze him out. And your opponent can't do much if he can't see the ball that's on. The simplest piece of logic in how you play the game. Just make sure your opponent can't pot anything. I think this is ending up straight again. Yeah, well, he's going to have to use a wee bit of spin and try and just squeeze it in and get that cue ball out. I mean, if he can force it around anywhere up here, would do. And he's short. He's going to just get there, I think. It's going to be a thin cut, though. He needed to get in that box. Yeah, too risky. So again, the common sense approach. I mean, he could have went for that cut, and I wonder if VPMonster would have went for that cut when you have the chance to lock your opponent out again. And he gets the reward. Ball in hand, table wide open, and well, it's going to be 3-0. It'd be unusual for this match to keep the same pattern. Something has to change for VPMonster pretty quickly. He's definitely going to be 3-0 down unless Bedhead does something silly here, but you know, VPMonster isn't down and out yet. Something needs to happen for him, and there's a mistake. Commentator's eye again. Should have been 3-0, and there's a gift. And Bedhead will make mistakes. He will get out of shape. Oh yeah, never apologise. What was Mr. Nineball doing? I mean, he apologised 2 or 3 times. That's the furthest thing from my bloody mind when I'm playing a game. It's all part of the game. So that is good news for VPMonster. I think I put the jinx on Bedhead there, saying that VPMonster just needs something to happen, and Bedhead duly obliged. Cocked up the 9. How's that 7 look? Well, we can see the 7 goes, but once again, it only goes if you're on it. It's in no great position if you've got a 6 ball over here, so that's going to make it tough. Now, Bedhead could, if he doesn't double kiss, he could sneak along the rail possibly and try and get in behind that 8. Maybe the 2's right on the rail. That's the problem with this shot. Well, it's not on the rail, but I think the problem is he couldn't get the 2 ball up the table far enough to try and get that cue ball in behind the 7 and 8. I don't think he can. He's looking for distance. Just a thin feather, that's all he wants. So even that's just nudged out. And he's got the distance. It's a really thin cut. Really thin. That needed to get right in there, just a wee bit too heavy. That could have been nasty there for Bedhead. Well, 5 to the 6. And how do you get on the 7? And it must simply have an angle. It's the only way you're going to get anywhere near that 7 ball. Well, he could do the simple shot and just come across for the 6 and brush it past the 9. But he'll be coming in the short side of the 7 if he doesn't have a good enough angle. He's got the angle, and this is going to be a precision shot. He can cut it, and he can come back over. Might even go over there, but whatever, he wants to try and get as close to this rail as he can. Well, he's went for it in the middle, and he's scratched, so there's the next mistake. And VPMonster, well, I don't know why he didn't take that long, because to me, if you took it long and cut it into that pocket, you bring the cue ball back. I mean, there's still a risk of a scratch, but you know, every player sees shots differently. But here's another bonus chance for VPMonster, and all of a sudden, the match has turned on its head. It was looking doom and gloom in 3-0, and as soon as I open my mouth, I put the jinx on Bedhead. One of my many talents. And break goes to VPMonster for rack number 5. And nothing doing. You know, it was Bedhead that broke. What am I talking about? No, he got a ball. He got a ball in the break. Never even noticed a ball had gone in. Pay attention, for God's sake. No, I won't be doing any Friday night 9 ball. I'm not doing any of that while this is on. Plus, I want to get to my bed fairly early tomorrow night as well. And try and catch up those hours. I need to try and get decent enough voice for the big important matches coming up, provided I can get them. Well, that was a push out there from VPMonster, and let's be honest, it was not very good. It was pretty poor. The Bedhead is obviously not going to be doing anything with the 2-ball though. Now, what does he do? Just roll it to the rail and just try and use the 5-ball as a blocker. Sort of dead weight shot just to get to the rail and no more. That will do it. Easy kick. It's the usual kick and hope though. He wants to hit this half ball if he can. If he can hit it there, like that, at least it gets a wee bit of distance, apart from the fact it kicked into the 6. So it is a chance here now for Bedhead. He's going to have to play, obviously, the 4-7 combo. And he has to be careful about where the 4-ball's going to go. That's the only issue we have here. Now he's going to find the gap. And he should be okay here. Well, he wants to get up the table, and he can probably, the safest route is to come back the way, I think. I mean, if he goes forward, he wants to get top side of that 6 as we look. And this is the one that can always go wrong, because you're playing a draw shot. It looks like he's going to be doing it unless he goes. Safest shot looking at it is going forward. You go forward, you come down here, you get a huge area to get into. Anywhere in there will do nicely. So Bedhead is going to go back into the lead. And this is against the break, if I remember rightly. VPMonster broke off, did get a ball in the break, and then played the poor push out, which didn't ultimately cost him the rack, but it didn't help his case. So a 2-ball goes in, a shot in the 1, and this looks like very likely to be the first or the second 2-rack gap in this match, because there isn't a problem. If there is a problem and we want to make one, then it's probably from the 5 to the 6. That's the only one that could go wrong. Got the angle. Can he... Now, what way does he do this? Because, again, you can go 2 ways. You can stun the cue ball up to the safe side, because that takes out the risk of hooking yourself behind a 9. Now, surely he's got to stun up rather than running and going that way, because you can block yourself out. And He hasn't got there. He didn't stun that enough. You got to hit it a little punchy stun to get the cue ball just to keep the straight line. That stun should have went that way. And so it was looking like 4-2. That is now in the balance. What's he going to do? Now again, he's calling the bank. I think it is all out for the bank. But remember where that 7 ball is, it's blocked out by the 8. So he's got to work the cue ball. And he's got no shot. Now, this is a bit fiddly. Well, it's all out for the bank on the 7. This might be VPMonster's chance. It certainly will be now, because he's ran through with the cue ball trying to hide behind the 8 and he's misjudged it. So it's another great opportunity for VPMonster to square the match. Well, anywhere there is where he wants to be for this 9, because he doesn't have to really do much with the cue ball. He's putting a lot of English in this. He looks as if he's wanting to go this side, and that will do as long as it holds up. That will do very nicely indeed. He had his choices as to what he wanted to do. And once again, it's one that's got away for Bedhead, getting out of shape, way out of shape in that 6 ball. And this is what I've been talking about. He's going to get out of line. He's going to make mistakes. It's whether VPMonster can take that advantage. And right now, he's well in the game. He's got a ball in the break in rack number 7. He's got a shot in the 1, which he doesn't have to do an awful lot with the cue ball to go on that 2. But the 3, well, the 3 will go if you finish here. And he needs to keep running, and that's pretty good. Well, now he's going to go surely top side with the cue ball and try and get into this gap, into that window there for a shot in the 3. He's drawn back now. I don't know whether I agree with that shot, because that's made his life 10 times more difficult playing down to here. Some folk do see shots different from the way I see them. I'm talking about the more simple shot is just controlling your pace and finding that window. Now, this is bloody tough. And that's what's going to happen. You just ain't going to get them. I mean, he definitely could go through and around the corner and into that gap between the 4 and the 10 to have a shot in the 3. You've got to play the right shot or the simpler shot, and I think that was the simpler shot. It's all about getting your pace right just to get that sight on the 3. VPMonster saw it differently, and in the end, that's ended his visit. And that's a good safety. That's a very good safety. Well, we're all square at the moment. 2-0 start for Bedhead. Should have been 3-0. And it's the mistakes from Bedhead that's been capitalised on by VPMonster that's got him back into the match early on. That's it in a nutshell. So it's an easy escape here for VPMonster. He's gone for that kiss on the 9 there. I think that 3 was threatening to hold its line. And he's not been lucky. Wide open table again for Bedhead, and should be back in the lead. Anyway, good evening, semi-pro. I feel like, well, I'll be honest, I feel like shit. My lungs are sore, especially when I cough. It's now the aftermath of the last 2 or 3 days. It's a recovery situation I'm in, but the voice isn't holding up too well. Now this looks pretty easy. I would even fancy doing this myself. Now, what's the angle he's got here? Well, it's, to me again, it's just straight through and off the short rail and back up. Well, Bedhead's, the 2 players have been making the odd mistake, which has cost them. Bedhead's had VPMonster and a couple of good tight hooks, good safeties, but the match is, well, was all tied simply because Bedhead had made a couple of errors that let Monster in to pinch their axe. But Bedhead has done the job. Back in front and back with the break for rack number 8. 2 balls straight around the table and into the top left. And, well, I think he might be burying VPMonster again if he can here. Just a wee bit fiddly. And he's played it well. Oops, wrong button, hang on a minute. And that's a toughie. I mean, he can go off the long rail and kick it. I'm thinking that if he tried to kick it from there and not play it too hard, he might get in behind the 6. Oh, that was almost a great shot. But he'll take that. The final's a race to 17, which should be about, well, it'll be well over 2 hours, depending on how the racks go. It could be 3 hours. Bedhead's found another one. That little spin there is just going to drop in behind the 10. But VPMonster's got plenty of room and should be able to jump this. Oh, I mean, I would have a go at that. I don't know. This is the thing I was talking about last night, or the other night there, with Interchange X. Against Mr. 9-Ball. Interchange X was very reluctant to use the jump cue. He only used it once, I think, in the whole match, and there was about 3 or 4 racks where if it was Mr. Bill, he would have jumped and potted the ball that was on, but Interchange X just went for kick shots. Well, that needs to go higher than that, I think. I think he needs to go higher. Yeah, he was nowhere near the angle to get that cue ball over the 10. Even I know that. And that's the thing, that VPMonster predominantly plays cowboy, and he's very rarely ever going to use a jump cue, a bit like me. So you don't get that practice. You know, if you're playing 9-ball every day of the week like Bill, then you're going to be well practiced in the jump stick. But it's a 2-10 combo, and finally Bedhead has got back to the 2-rack gap. He was 2-0 early on, and VPMonster's back to square one. Oh, it's another poor safety though. Not very good. Once again though, I think VPMonster's forgetting he's got a minute shot clock here to size up the situation. Bedhead went for the pot. Hasn't got it, but has got lucky. Now, there is a gap there to get to that 1-ball. Now, you might have to straighten that up with English, but something like that would maybe just get to the 1-ball and no more. I don't know whether that's a good enough line, but maybe not. No, it's a bit too tight the more I look at it. But this is piling on the pressure. Well, this has to spin right around at 3 to get anywhere near the 1 before the spin takes care of it off the rail. Yeah, I don't think that was ever on. I think I would have been looking to tie something up, like nudge the 8 down towards the 5 or something like that. But that's Bedhead's doing the right thing, just keeping on top of VPMonster, and it may well become a wee bit frustrating, but that's the object of the safety play. He got a bit lucky there though in that one getting the cover. And when I say VPMonster's back to square one again, he needs something to happen, but the problem is he can't keep relying on Bedhead just making mistakes. He has to get the strategy worked out here if he gets a chance. Try and lock up Bedhead, give him some of his own medicine. Well, we've been on for just short of 45 minutes. We're at the halfway stage, and Bedhead's doing his best to get himself in trouble. And he has done. He's going to have to jump. And this is now leaving it in the lap of the gods as to whether he's going to have a shot on the 9, because he doesn't know where the cue ball's going to end up. Well, he's managed to play a jump and a stun, and that was excellent. That was well controlled. Well, now the alarm bells are ringing. It's now 6-3. Scratching the break for Bedhead. Oh, that 10 ball's dropped into the middle, but look at the 2 ball. 2 balls lining up with a 10. Almost. Now, He wants to get there with the cue ball. That's exactly where he wants to be, right in that donut. If he wants to risk the 210 combo. If he can find that donut, he's got a chance. And anywhere outside that donut, it makes it more difficult. Yes, he's just now offline. He wanted to be as straight as he could. But now he's got a choice. I think he can roll through and bury Bedhead. Maybe. I think he can, but he's still determined to... He's still determined to go for it, but I think he can roll that 2 through and... He's well away, but he's going to get second prize, I think, is he? That's a missed call, and I think Bedhead can see this, can he? Yeah, I thought he'd actually hooked him, so Bedhead will probably play from here. And provided he can get a good kiss off the 9, if he hits it, is he just going to try and spin it in behind it? Well, he's hit the 9, and that keeps it in play. And now he's got problems. How does he get the cue ball onto the 4? He's relying on luck, really, because he's going to collide with something. Well, I've never seen Bedhead nominate the 10 ball in the break. It's Stubb that started that. He was the first person I seen nominating the 10 ball in the break. And I can't remember who... well, that was against Spectre Dawn, and then Spectre Dawn cottoned on to the idea and started calling it after he saw Stubb doing it. And nobody else I've seen in the tournament doing it. And I must admit, whenever I've played 10 ball, I've never called the 10 in the break. Which I haven't played it very much. Well, I think we've got a 6-7 combo sitting there. It looks pretty good. Well, he's going to have to go to the rail so that he can... yeah, that's ideal. And now he needs to just double check the distance he's got. And then hit that 6 there. So he's sending it that way. He needs to actually hit it maybe even thinner than that to get this 7 to go in. Played it well. Oh, and the 6 is rolling nice. Well, it has to be said now, if Bedhead can take this one out, it is not looking promising for VPMonster. But once again, Bedhead's gone straight. And he's just trying to squeeze that with a bit of spin, and he's got there. Well, I queried it. I queried about the calling the 10 ball in the break and what would happen. Can't remember who said it in the chat, but if you call the 10 ball in the break and 10 ball and it goes in, well, there's a mistake again from Bedhead. There might be life in the match yet, especially when he keeps doing stuff like that. If the 10 ball goes in the break and you've called it, it's a legal shot and you win the rack. If you call the 10 ball in the break, but another ball goes in, then it's a missed call. And then again, depending on the lay of the table, the incoming player has a choice of playing or putting the other player back in. So, unexpectedly, Bedhead's gifted VPMonster another rack. He's got lucky again. And VPMonster, well, I'm looking for ways to get to this one ball. If he was to go that way, he's going to have a little feather of English on it. And that's very difficult to judge as to how it's going to come off that rail. The 6 ball is in the way for the line to get to that one. So if you're going to go that way, I think you have to get that little bit of English just to get the cue ball moving. And that's a good effort. Bedhead will be able to spin that in. Just nudge the cue ball with the right English and just clip that edge. You sure, Pot Man? I never noticed. No, we've yet to see it because it only happened on Sunday night when Stubbs started calling the 10 on the break. Nothing's ever went in yet. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But according to it didn't happen on Sunday when the 10 ball was called the break. Another ball went in and the player stayed at the table. Now, would that not mean that the incoming player put the player back into the table, Potman? Were you paying attention enough to notice that? Because that might be what happened. And again, I can't confirm or deny that. I haven't a clue. Well, here's the chance for now. This is difficult, but he's got to make something happen for himself, and he's overcut it. Difficult shot. Well, you know the only person that's going to answer that correctly? The main man himself. He set the bloody game. So surely he'll know. And there's not that many people regularly play 10 ball. And in fact, those that do occasionally, none of them ever call the 10 in the break. But this is another great chance for Bedhead to widen the gap again. And this is a little punchy stunt because he's going to have to stun that in and try and miss the 10. And he's played it exactly the way described. Well, if you pot it gently and get the cue ball out, you're going to leave a long 6 past the 9. That's the simplest shot so that you're not moving the cue ball any crazy way. And the angle he's got there means he can go off there, up here and over for the 7. Is that the rule? Only one ball may be called on each shot, except on the break shot where no ball may be called. Does that say that in the VP4 10 ball rules? Or is that like the official, whatever the official one is, APA or whatever, I don't know. But that seems fairly clear the way that's described. Oh, and it's yet another mistake by Bedhead. Well, I would tend to go along with the official rules. Well, VPMonster's dead straight in the 8. So he can only go back the way. I don't think he can go forward at all here. He's got to get the draw. And let's go behind him, see what it looks like. That's an awkward... I mean, it's straight. And... he's going to leave an awkward cut. This is tough. It's off the rail by a couple of millimetres. I think you've just got to go 100% and just hope you get good in the 10. Because it's bad enough worrying about the cut than worrying too much about some sort of ideal position in the 10. It needs to slow up. Well, he's surely just got to go for the pot in the left corner. Bit of draw on it as well. He doesn't want the cue ball to be squirting away anywhere. Well, he's decided to go for the bank. I'd be more inclined to go for the pot. I don't like that as a bank at that angle. Oh, but in it goes. What a bonus. Brave shot to take on. And Bedhead is frittering away racks here. See, I don't think VPMonster's made anything in this match to happen for himself yet to win a rack. I think you guys watching will agree that he's not really taken charge of a rack yet, VPMonster. These 5 racks that he's got, they've all been due to the mistakes of Bedhead. I mean, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 5 racks on the board for VPMonster, and I don't think he's had to work a rack to win it. Okay, he's had to clear up whatever balls is there, but everything's been given to him by Bedhead by making these errors. And at this time in the match, this would be a great time for VPMonster to start making things happen for himself if he gets a chance. You know, if Bedhead had potted all those balls that he's missed, this match would be over. We'd be home and dry and looking at the next round. It's all self-inflicted injuries he's got here. And now VPMonster has got him in trouble. And look at the table. Look at these balls. And sometimes picking up the scraps is all you need to just keep yourself in with a chance. And this is why you should always never give up. Never just start lashing out. There's always a chance. And if Bedhead can't negotiate this, well, he's pulled off a good jump. And he's landed on the 3. And now these balls are all his. If he can get this rack done, everything's up in the air as to whether Bedhead's going to run this table. Well, now he's gone square on the 4 again, and he can stun across for this 6. He might stun across, depends how hard he hits it. But it looks as if he's playing it with right English to go that way. Bottom right English is to punch the cue ball around. Well, he stunned it to square it up, and that's actually worked out perfect. I thought he was going to run it, but the right English did the trick to bring it across. That was a good shot. but the rack is still up in the air. It looks simple enough to pot the 7, and if you can get straight in the 8, just draw it out for the 9. You don't want to be cutting the 8 if you can help it, because that way the cue ball's running and things can happen. Well, now with that angle, he's got all the room in the world to get on the 9. Well, brushed into the 10, but it's turned out okay. So once again, Bedhead is keeping VPMonster at arm's length, but at the same time, he's keeping VPMonster in with a chance with these mistakes he's been making. Now, had VPMonster got that cue ball tighter and safer with that safety that he played on the 1 ball, you know, Bedhead may well not have escaped, and those balls could have all been his. It's all could have and should have. But that's the difference between having won the rack and lost it. So VPMonster breaking off and gets a ball in the break. 2 ball has gone. No shot in the 1. And looking for cover. Well, that's not what I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at banking that or cutting that to the rail, sending it there. Cue ball up and down. Well, he called the 5, didn't he? That is amazing how that cue ball has run through onto the 5. He's in a whole heap of trouble. Oh dear. He played the combo on it and he's ran through with the cue ball and pushed the 5 in, so it was a legal shot. And now he's scratched. Well, again, this afternoon, when Bedhead and that were in the lobby, I think Yama was there as well. I was talking about, you know, they were all talking about how Vinces was playing, and the thing I keep going back to is that Vinces has not had a tough match yet. He's not been under the cosh. He's not been at the tight end of a match where it's anybody's match yet, and he's not had a bad match. He's not played badly and won, and that would be my concern for him, that, you know, sooner or later, unless he just breezes through this, sooner or later things aren't going to go quite right for him. Somebody's going to get maybe a bit more of the running, somebody's going to find the pace and get their position as good as, or maybe better than Vince says, and then cause him problems. But until that happens, he's you know, odds-on favourite to win it. Well, looking at it from the other point of view, let's just say that Vince says maybe we haven't seen the best of him yet. That could be bad news for the rest of the guys. But that's something I'm looking forward to, as to what happens when it gets tight. Because we've all been there. Well, Bedhead now looks as if the gap is going to go to 3 again, at the wrong end of the match now for VPMonster. Well, we'll give him that 10 ball. Let's have a look at this bracket for a second. Hang on a minute, where's the bloody thing? So, Spectre Dawn and Acero are playing on the Sunday, and the winner of that match is going to play Vince says now, well, if you're going to go by pedigree, Spectre Dawn has been in the wars with Stubb and came out on top. So his nerves have been tested. Okay, he was a bit shaky towards the end, but Acero, one of these Japanese players that are good and solid, and it's difficult to call that match, but either way it's going to be a tough opponent for Vince says. Right, see you later, Pot Man. So Potman is like the guy at the football where his side are 2-0 down with 5 minutes to go, and he decides to leave the stadium, forgetting that the referee's going to add on about 5 minutes injury time. His team get an equaliser with 2 minutes to go. They get the first goal, and then they get the equaliser in injury time, and then they get a penalty with a minute to go of injury time and they win the match. And he's wondering why he can hear all the noise coming from the stadium when he's getting into his car. This match isn't over till it's over. Although I have to say I don't get the impression it's going to go all the way like the Stubb Spectre Dawn match. Well, I think Bedhead's like the vast majority of players where, they'll stick to their games that they prefer, which would be 9-ball, it could be one pocket. But generally speaking, Bedhead isn't a 10-ball player. I don't think so. Now and again maybe, but not a regular player. I think most of us are in the same boat as far as that goes. But that's another safety that's gone wrong for VPMonster. Or is it? Can you see that one? I thought you could see the one. Maybe not. No, you can't get to the potting angle. I thought you could get that. So it turned out not too bad. Well, at 85 down, I think it's vital that VPMonster gets this rack. I don't think he can afford to let this go to 9. He has to win this rack some way or another. And whether that's by going all out for it, like potting this one and hoping he gets on the 2, or by keeping it very tight and cautious well, it's difficult to give him advice as to what he should be doing. And, well, Bedhead's got no real shot in the one here again. Well, this is not a bad shot if he is playing the bank, because the cue ball's going down to the corner towards the 2 and the 6. Well, still, it's a cut for Bedhead, but it's really difficult to get anywhere near the 2. He's looking at the pot on the 2 from there, but let's have a look. Well, I don't think that's on. It is from here, maybe, or just about there. Albie doesn't play VP4 anymore. You never see him. He's not a regular player. Albie's now a player of the past. He's had his good times. He'll be like the Nigel Benn of VP4, trying to get back into the fight game at 55 years old when he's well out the game. Five ball safe. And what about this Allenville? We never see him now either. His time's gone. Well, I've seen that Lobster guy online, and I only ever see him in a 9-ball room on his own, with it set to what used to be called club pockets. He doesn't play in a room with it on tournament pockets. And I've never seen him playing anybody. Well, okay, the 3 ball's on, but there is nothing whatsoever happening with that 5. Oh, I found one of Concentrators. He's got more than one YouTube channel, by the way. And I found the one, he's got that 1,000-year-old man one. And then he's got another one which I found today. But that's the one, there's loads of videos on him playing pool with a gas mask on and playing with a big, what do you call it? SAS balaclava in his face. The guy is bloody nuts. He is off his chump. I mean, I said that in VP3 20 years ago, and the guy is bloody crazy. He should be locked away. He's on a different planet. That's a good one. He's definitely in a different wavelength from the rest of the normal human beings. He's totally nuts. And the way that he talks as well, oh Jesus. I wish I could... What was the name of the channel? You've got to see it. I'm talking about Loop de Loop. I mean, if any psychiatrist got near him, he'd be certified. That's how bloody crazy the guy is. Totally dotty. And to think he's walking the streets. Well, that's one of his channels, but as I say, I found another one today, and I can't remember how I stumbled across it, because I was browsing YouTube and I found a video, and then when I clicked on the link, it took me to the channel. That's the one, I think. No, is it? No, I don't think that was it. Like, you must have at least 2 or 3 channels on YouTube. And for the life of me, I can't remember how I got there, but oh dear. Anyway, if anybody can find it, it'll be easy to know who he is. There's loads of videos with him with a gas mask on it. Oh, Jesus. And you tell people this is what the guy's like, they wouldn't believe you till you actually see it. Well, VPMonster had to stick this rack away. He's still got to get this 10 ball, but this is vital. And it goes. He's back within 2. And he needs something to happen. He's been waiting all match. And it ain't going to be this time though. But he's got cover. Oh, that was the other thing, Slim. I found, how come this come up? Because I was looking at Diggler's website. The website is still up. And I think I was reading there was like $72 had been collected, supposedly for charity. And, you know, it's got the whole list of the players that have all signed up to it. Needless to say, I wasn't one of them. I'm not that gullible. But, yeah, I think there was about $70 odd in the bank. And he's gone high and dry, never to be seen again. Well, did somebody not say that they had a breakdown or something? I mean, anybody can say they had a breakdown when they're stealing your money and you don't see them again. I mean, come on. This is the internet we're talking about. How gullible are you going to be to believe stuff? The guy has never been online to give any sort of explanation that I've seen. And that's the one thing about making a gullible website. Make it look good. I mean, the website reads very well, which is why a lot of people were gullible enough to put money in. Yeah, well, I mean, let's put it this way. I could entice you into giving me money and then say, oh, I'm in the nut house. I'll speak to you again when I get out. No disrespect to anybody that's got mental illness, but I don't care how bad his illness is. It doesn't stop him from getting online and coming in and saying, this is the story, guys. I hope that clears the air. And then I think most folk would respect him for that. It's the fact that he's bloody disappeared. And he's got money in his pocket. Anyway, more important matters. Can Bedhead get out for the 8? He's going to have to punch it. Good angle anyway, plenty of room, and he should be on the hill. I was also looking at a post on the Celeris forum as well. I think there was a link on the site that he had, and I found the forum post that he was putting about the tournament, and I don't think I read any apology on that. He could have left a message on there, and I don't think I found anything there. Now, is the legal term not embezzlement? Or is it just simply fraud? How do you want to term it? Well, the only problem with that is it costs you more than $72 to get a lawyer involved. Well, Bedhead on the hill, leading 9-6. And it's the point of no return for VPMonster. He's played a good safety. And look at where the 10 ball is. And I think it's important that Bedhead just decides to pot the 10 and leave it up to VPMonster to see if he can run out. That's the best tactic he can use here. He's looking around and pretending he's going to do something. He's going to pot the 10. Anybody with half an ounce of common sense is going to do that. Now, VPMonster now is in charge of this rack. It's up to him to either try and get Bedhead into a 2-fill situation here or try and run out. Well, he's still got the option of 2 fills if he can get it. If he has a good chance. If the run out is threatened. But the difficulty immediately is getting on that 4. He needs to be straight on the 3. Well, this has got to be gentle. He's going to be running through and he has to get in that little window. Probably going that way a bit. It needs to keep going. And now a perfect angle on the 4 just to stun it. Hit it to the right jaw and that allows you to stun across nice for the 5. And another important one because I think he's gone pretty straight. Yeah. Well, he's got an angle. He's going to have to again punch it. He's putting loads of left on it. Well, I don't think that came round the corner at all. I think that hit the... It must have hit the jaw because the cue ball's ended here. And that's a thin cut. That's scratch territory into that corner pocket. He needs to try and dig into this cue ball here to take the cue ball away from a possible scratch. Oh dear, well, he's riding his luck. He is on the tightrope. And Bedhead's just waiting to pounce on VPMonster's last mistake if he's going to make one. He might run into the 10 ball here. But if he has the pace in the cue ball and he misses the 10, the cue ball will come back up the table for a shot at the 8. Well, he's digging down again. He's gone long and oh, disaster. Well, I don't know why he didn't go for the cut. He played a brave shot there, but that has sold himself down the Swanee River, I'm afraid. It's all over. The fat lady is singing. I can hear her. And Bedhead just needs to get to that jaw on the left middle pocket, or there or thereabouts, and that'll give him a reasonably straight in 10 ball for the match. Well, Bedhead is marching on, not all that convincing yet, but he's got the job done, and that's all that matters, and he wins out by 10 racks to 6. Right, we'll have a wee final look at the bracket. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're nipping off, take care and good night, and we'll see how this shapes up for Bedhead before we pull the plug. And we'll just refresh that. So Bedhead now, well, Bedhead's now going to be playing Stub, and that's a match to look forward to. Who knows what the hell's going to happen in that? That is anybody's call, and I'm not prepared to call it. So we're looking forward to that happening. So again, before we go, unless something else happens between now and the weekend, we're going to have 2 matches at the weekend. The one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon UK time, which is the Spectre Dawn Acero match at 4 PM. And then if we go back across, we'll have that one lost side match, which is between Mr. 9ball and Semi-Pro at 8 PM on the Sunday night. So that'll be 2 matches we're going to have then. Whether we'll have anything before then, I don't know. But hopefully I can be able to cover it if I can. So that is it, chaps. Take care. See you later and good night.